then. So you've got Ellie here from Pathway CTM, and as you all can hear, then you've got Tracy from Pathway CTM on the line too. I just want to kick off the webinar today by explaining a little bit about today's session. I am here in terms of doing that first kind of introduction, and I'm going to talk you through a bit about what today's going to consist of. I'm aware that some people might be dialing in on their phone, some people might be dialing in on a laptop of theirs or of someone else's. All of them are absolutely fine ways to dial in, and I'm so happy that lots of people are on the line, so that's brilliant. In terms of that though, so I do have a bit of a presentation and a video to show you as part of today. All of those of you who are dialed in on your phone, that's no problem at all. So don't see that as a barrier. You'll be able to hear absolutely everything, and there's nothing on the screen which we won't be explaining. So don't worry about that. That's great that you've dialed in from however it is best for you. So don't feel like you're missing out. There is one kind of tiny video section, but of course you'll be able to hear it, and that shouldn't be a problem at all. So that won't hinder you. In terms of today's session, I really want to encourage anyone who has any questions at any point to ask them. So this is a perfect chance to ask us any questions about, firstly, what is today's session about? How can we help you? What is this going to look like in the future? Any questions like that, then definitely go ahead and ask those questions. And I just want to talk about how you can do that before going into kind of the content of today. So there are 3 ways you can ask questions in the session today. So one of them is through the Q&A panel on the Zoom, if you have it as open in your laptop, or however you dialed in via the computer. And you can also do it through the chat box on Zoom. So there are 2 options there if you're via your computer. But second to that, as I've mentioned, if you are dialed in via your phone, that's also great, and that shouldn't hold you back from any questions, because you can text back the number which texted you today with any questions you might have via the text, the phone you're using, or equally you can ask any questions in real time via our student at Pathway CTM inbox. So anyone who's on the Zoom, it's really straightforward, but there are also those other ways you can ask questions via your phone and via an email address. So those are 2 different ways. And also, if you have any questions which you don't want to ask on the line today, that's absolutely fine. We know what it's like. And so if there are any questions after today, then of course our team are here to help you, as we always are throughout this process. So that's kind of the logistics out of the way, and moving on to a bit of an intro in terms of what today's session is going to be. And yeah, well, obviously, first of all, this is a kickoff webinar to a group of webinars we're going to be putting on, which Tracy is going to talk a bit more about in a second. But ultimately, the agenda of today, I'll be going through after Tracy has done this initial kind of introduction. So what I'm going to do is hand over to Tracy in terms of talking about a little bit about the HBF programme and our construction programme, just as I know that lots of you do hear from us and speak to us on a regular basis anyway, but just as a bit of a reminder. So Tracy, over to you there.
Thanks, Ellie. Hi, everyone. It's really, really awesome to see so many of you joining us today. I think we've still got people coming in. There was a bit of an issue with the original link, but any of your friends that are desperately trying to get into this and wondering why they can't, please do get them to check their email inbox. We have just sent out an updated link for those that were struggling. So I'm Tracy. I've probably spoken to a few of you over the past few weeks on our coaching calls, so welcome. The HBF programme, so obviously you're all part of this programme and you know the good things we've been doing with you over the past few months. In the current climate, we've obviously made decisions to convert our events into a digital setting, which so far has worked very, very well. So how is that going to impact the programme that we have with you? Well, truthfully, there should be no impact. You'll still see us, you'll still hear from us, and all of those exciting events will still be coming up, albeit in a virtual platform. So this today is a kick-off, as Ellie just said, but some of the events we've got coming up include employer-hosted events. So a number of our construction companies are very, very keen to still proceed. So we will be bringing them in over the forthcoming weeks. Some of those will consist of videos of their site, so you can actually see what's going on their building sites across the UK. We'll also be joined by current apprentices that are already working in the home building sector, site managers, construction leads. There's quite a number of people that we're going to be introducing you to. So do keep an eye out on your inbox. We'll be sending out updates end of play every Friday, so you know what's coming up the week ahead. Alongside that, we'll also be bringing in some virtual workshops for you. So again, just because we can't come into your colleges, just because we can't go into our employer sites right now, we're going to bring that to you over the web. Our workshops will include both hard and soft skills. So some of those might be around the application process. Some of the key things coming up are how to prepare for video assessments, etc. These all still apply today. And on some of the hard skills, in terms of the trades that we're covering at the moment, our employers are busy creating content for you so that you can still get that insight as to what it's really like and the skills that you really need to understand to secure your chance of success with a role with them. We're also going to be joined by other hosts from the Pathway team. You'll see an email coming from us tomorrow where we'll be introducing our new outreach manager. His name is Alex, and over the forthcoming weeks Alex is going to be calling you all regularly so that he can coach and support you, whether you're currently thinking about an application or you're already in the middle of an application. Alex will be on hand to answer any questions you have and make sure that you've got all of the insights, again, just to give you the best chance of success with your applications. And we know many of you are in the middle of that at the moment. So well done to everyone who's already applying for those open roles. The last thing that I would add here is that we are, of course, still in regular touch with your colleges, as I'm sure you guys are in a virtual setting at the moment. Your college tutors are all being invited to these webinars. They're also being kept updated with some of the key events we've got coming up. So it may be that you're receiving information from us, but you may also receive that forwarded on from your tutors too, just to make sure that you're aware of what's happening. We are on hand, as I said, to answer any questions via telephone, but I would also just like to point out that if anybody does have any questions after this webinar, or any more general around an application process, or maybe you just want to have some more support from us, you can always email us at student@pathwayctm.com. That inbox is managed and monitored very regularly, and one of our team will come back to you. So we've got a great load of events coming up for you guys. The programme is still on, the roles are still open, and I know Ellie's going to talk about our employers further in this presentation. So yeah, sit back, relax, learn and enjoy. Thanks, Ellie.
Amazing, thanks, Tracy. So what I want to just reiterate what Tracy just mentioned. So obviously it's really nice to have this introduction with us as the Pathway team, but just as a bit of a reminder that upcoming there will be engagement from these employers. There'll be more kind of interactive pieces through these webinars. So don't worry if you think today, oh, this is a PowerPoint from us, like you'll be getting much more interactive and kind of hard skills. So you know, hold tight to what's coming up. So in terms of an agenda for today though, so we've had that introduction from us as a team, and Tracy's touched upon those upcoming webinar series. So that's just a bit of information to kick off. So what I'm going to be doing now is my role here. So even though it does say Chris McNamara as I talk, my name is Ellie, and I am head of employer relations here. So I work with those construction employers, and I'm going to be talking to you about which construction employers we work with at the moment. And that's not a final list. We're always talking to new employers and new construction companies. So don't worry if you see you really have your heart set on an employer which isn't on this presentation today, because we're always reaching out to new ones, and we'll continue to do so. So I'll go over who they are and what they offer really as the first section, and then I'll be moving into kind of what open roles are there at the moment, and that's not to say that any of the other companies aren't going to be employing or anything like that. They're just the ones that we're focusing on this week. So there are a couple or a few that I'm going to mention about the actual roles and what they consist of today. So it will be a slightly shorter session today, because obviously it's a top line session from us, and we're just giving that introduction, but we will be moving in and working with employers and doing more Q&A and understanding a bit what life is like on site in the upcoming series. So I've already spoken to you about how you can communicate during the webinar, but I'm just putting it back in here again, so don't hold back. Any questions you have, literally ask them through the Q&A box throughout. Don't worry about interrupting me, there's no problem at all. So what I wanted to do first was share just a quick video of some apprentices about their experiences. So this is a quick video of some students who've gone on.
My experience as an apprentice has been pretty sweet. I mean, I've come on leaps and bounds since I first started. It consists of me learning how to use a station, how to read drawings, how to communicate with the project management team and such.
There's lots of things apprenticeship can do for you. You can either guarantee a job when you finish your apprenticeship, or when you get your level, your qualification, you'll be more qualified to be hired by other people. It helped me find a job, first of all. Keeps me occupied during the week, gets you money weekly. It's a good path to go down.
Because out there, it's not easy just to get a job like that. Being an apprentice is obviously you're learning and get money at the same time.
So that's just a really, really quick view in terms of what is actually like some first-hand insight from some apprentices themselves. I know we're not just talking about apprenticeships, we're talking about jobs in the world of construction, but I just wanted to, obviously I'm not sitting here with experience having worked on site, and the employers and apprentices will be people who can talk to you about that. So it's just a bit of a view in terms of how you can see yourself in a few years' time or in the future working on site as either an apprentice or any other elements of the construction industry. So I'm starting off by just giving a bit of an overview. So there are a number of different roles which come as apprenticeships, but I don't within the home building world, and I don't want you to think just around trade apprenticeships. I want there are other options out there. So I wanted to let you know that we do have there are lots of roles available in the world of home building, and not all necessarily in trade, even though I know the majority of the students that we've got on our HBF programme are in those roles. I just wanted a little bit of a reminder that today we'll be talking about some other roles which do exist as well. So there's trade, commercial, management, and there's so many options within them. So just wanted to cover that really quickly. So in terms of today, I mean, we've already been through this in terms of what you want to achieve. That's just we wanted to achieve from today, and that's just that introduction, overview, and an insight into the current roles and the ability to ask us some questions. So that's a bit of a view there. So moving on then, so I've said a lot about employers we work with. So who are these employers and how could you work with them in the future? On the screen now, there is a view of some of the construction companies we're working with at the moment who have opportunities, not only just for roles and jobs, but also to get that experience in terms of what we've organised with them is, for example, site visits or getting a bit of an opportunity to understand life at these particular companies. So I'm going to start off with Berkeley Homes. So for example, Berkeley Homes, Barratt Homes and Redrow Homes are the ones I'm going to be talking about in a little bit in terms of open roles. But what I'd say is that they have so many opportunities within them. So not only trade roles and apprenticeships within trade, but also commercial and business roles, which is absolutely brilliant. In terms of these other companies, so we see Berkeley Homes and Barratt Homes, Persimmons and Redrow are probably the ones which most of you, which we work with really closely, and we've mentioned on the coaching calls which we've had with you recently. The reason I say that is because we recently had a webinar. We've had 2 webinars with Redrow Homes, with Josh, who's a really high member of the team there, and with Naz at Berkeley Homes, talking about what life is like in the Berkeley Homes Southall site. So these are various employers who you probably would have heard the names of from us talking to you recently, but all I'd really encourage you to do is, if you're on your laptop now, do take a quick photo of these, of this slide, and then have a little bit of a research. Like, the opportunities which you have now from having a little bit of extra time now you're at home is that you can go online and you can find out a little bit more about these companies. I mean, that's what we're here for. We're going to really help you with that. But if you do want to show initiative and you're keen and you're really kind of ready, thinking you're ready for the world of work, then 100% do a little bit of research, and then when we do organise that coaching call, or Alex, who we mentioned earlier, picks up the phone to you in the next coming weeks, then you'll actually know a little bit who are Berkeley Homes. You'll know the answer to that question, and that'll put you that kind of step ahead towards the world of work with them. So Taylor Wimpey is another example of a company which has lots of opportunities and works across the country, which is brilliant. In terms of Telford Homes, we work really closely with them. So I know I've seen a few familiar faces sign up to the session today who were at our Insight event with Telford Homes just a couple of months ago. And I know that they have an amazing kind of cohort there of young people getting into jobs. So any of those which are of interest, I'd say, take a quick picture now, do a little bit of research, and we can help you move into towards those employers which you think might be most relevant. And also what we're going to be doing is we can share a view in terms of where the sites which these people are based are, which are most relevant to you. So for example, Persimmons Homes, they're currently looking for roles in the Kent area. So I know that Kent and Essex are two main focuses for them. So if any of you on the line are, based in Rainham or Gravesend or Park Farm, then we can definitely help coordinate those different sites to you. And as I mentioned earlier, Berkeley Homes, they have a huge site in Southall. So if any of you on the line are kind of based there and you think actually that's perfect for me, then that's where their sites are, that one of their key sites is, and I know that they're hiring there still. And in terms of kind of Telford Homes, and then actually I live not far from Finsbury Park, and they've got an amazing construction site there at the moment. So I know there's lots of opportunities within London with Telford Homes. And I just want to add on there as well. So McLaren Rush, we had an amazing site visit with them a few weeks ago, and they are hiring for around the Guildford area. So I know some of you on this call today actually were there with me. So you know that those roles are available, but any of you who weren't able to make it, they're based there, one of their sites. And just also to mention Redrow Homes, so they've got two really key sites which we're looking at, one being in Colindale, so more North London focused, maybe for the New City College students who are on the line, or West London College even, and that's definitely in a good distance from there. And they have a really big site in Newham. So those are just some ideas, giving you a bit of, throwing you out a few different locations, a few different names, but I really encourage you to kind of take a photo now and do a little research, and then we can help you move into that, whichever of those appeal to you most. So that's a bit of an overview.
Sorry, just to sort of double up on a bit of information there. The newsletters that we're going to start sending out to our students, Ellie, I think over the forthcoming weeks, we'll probably get some of those employers to actually put a little blog out for some of our students too, so that they can get like a day in the life or a spotlight on. And also a little bit more background around some of these companies. I know a number of our students have been busy researching, but let's be honest, sometimes it's quite nice if it just pops into your inbox. So do Google, do have a look. But if you really, really are too busy with your current college work, of course, just keep an eye out for that inbox at the end of day on Friday, and we will start sending out a bit more information to give you guys something to read. Thanks, Ellie.
No, great point. And also, yeah, any questions you might have on any of them, we don't expect you to understand the difference between Redrow and Persimmons, for example, at this stage. It might just be location, it might be what they're looking for in terms of trade roles, so we can really help you there. Lots of you I know are already studying a particular trade and therefore might naturally want to go into that. I've just added this in here because we do hear stories of really successful students going through apprenticeships or trainee roles, and then actually finding out that some different trades actually fit for them. So, and I know from speaking to employers myself, that they don't cut off that option of kind of having a different look around. So if, for example, if you're doing multi-skills, which I know lots of our students are, then that's a perfect opportunity to, you know, go into any of these different avenues. So I wanted to just put on the screen here some of the examples of the trade roles that we've been speaking to our employers about. So again, get your phone out, take a quick photo, and that might be able to start your brain ticking and thinking, actually, yeah, what is cladding? Could I get into it? Steel fixing, is that something which might work for me? Yeah, and then we can help you kind of work out what they actually consist of with the help of kind of the experts and the employers that we're working with at the moment. So that's from a trade role perspective. And what I really did want to put out here as well is there are non-trade roles as well. So if you're thinking about going down a different route, then for example, quantity surveying, estimating, even down to kind of business support, these roles are all available on all of these with all of the employers, and they're letting me know quite consistently what their demand is for different areas, so we can really help support you if you're thinking about going down a different route. Lots of the actual kind of construction directors, for example, at Persimmons, he started off as a carpenter and then went into management. So there, and yeah, I know the similar case for Barry at McLaren Rush, who is now the site manager in Guildford. He started off as carpenter and then decided to go into the site management role. So there is flexibility, and we just wanted to give you a bit of an idea of what those non-trade roles are as well. So take a quick photo of that if you're interested, and we can always help support. So not to go too much into detail here, I just wanted to give a view. I know that we're not only focusing on apprenticeships, but we're focusing on jobs as a whole, so for MVQ and apprenticeships across all levels. But again, I just wanted to touch base on the fact that there are lots of different levels of apprenticeship. We can really help you work out what's right for you. So just knowing this kind of terminology, which we'll share with you after, you can go from a level 2 intermediate apprenticeship up to a degree level engineering apprenticeship, and we're here to kind of help you work out what's best for you. So don't be intimidated by all these different levels and different kind of qualifications, but these are here, and we're here to help you kind of work out what might be right.
Can I just add again, Ellie, just on that slide, that was awesome, by the way. I know we've got a number of our attendees asking questions already. Just to confirm, Ellie, we are, apprenticeships is obviously one of the big offerings on this programme, but the NVQ is still very, very much there. And there are other opportunities as well. So they, although we might have to hold on work experience on site right now, that is still an aspect too. So, you know, don't panic if you haven't had that work experience and you still want to proceed with it. We are looking at digital offerings, and I think we've already done a few of those, haven't we, Ellie, over the past few weeks. So don't panic. You know, right now it's all going to be digital. So just to let you know that there are different variations of roles, jobs available in this sector, even at the current time. The ones that we're listing out are apprenticeships, as we know that's what many of you have talked to us about. So we felt this was the best piece of info to give up front. Thanks, Ellie.
No problem, and that's a great point. So, which leads on really nicely to where could you be applying now, and what could you be doing now? And one example, which isn't actually on this slide, is I got off the phone to Telford Homes this afternoon, and they're definitely really keen to still be going ahead with a work experience project in the summer. Obviously it is quite uncertain times, and we're not pretending it isn't. We're here to kind of help you, support you through this uncertain time, but don't think that all work experience is off the cards. They're really keen to still have that going. We've got that penciled in for July, and not only do we have that penciled in, but we also have another plan. If we can't do physical work experience, we've got a plan for some digital kind of online work experience sessions. So don't feel kind of disheartened by the uncertainty of the moment, because we're here to kind of find solutions for you. So as students, I know it might be a little bit intimidating at the time when you're thinking about getting into the world of work, but ourselves, along with those employers, are here to help you get answers to those questions and get virtual work experience organised in some capacity. So don't worry about that. So I guess that brings me back to what could you actually be doing now. So in terms of open roles, I've just left these particular employers on the presentation for now. So again, I know that I'm repeating myself again, but I just take a quick I'd take a quick photo if I was you and I was on my laptop, and I could take a quick photo, because it gives you an idea of what you could be researching after this. So everyone who's on the line today will get a follow-up from us, and we'll get a quick survey just to find out, based on what we've chatted about today, what could be most relevant for you. And then off the back of that, as Tracy mentioned, we will be giving you a coaching call to understand what's the best next step for you. However, this is just a quick idea of the roles which are open at the moment, and where you could be looking at applying. I know lots and lots of you have actually already applied to some of these roles, so well done for that. I'm really impressed by the engagement so far. But I wanted to give you a bit of a view on what kind of these opportunities are. So one example I'm going to talk about today is Berkeley Homes. So they do offer an apprenticeship scheme called Reach Apprenticeships, and one key part of piece of advice here is that they explicitly say they're looking for people who are passionate. Passion is the one of the, and really passionate about starting a career in one of the most interesting and demanding industries out there. They're looking for resilience and passion, but they're not closing any doors to anyone for any reason. So all I'd say is every single one of you, and I can see so the number of people that's dialed in, you have passion and drive because you've chosen to dial into this webinar at 3:30 on a Thursday in your first week of working remotely. So first of all, you're already one step there, and we're really here to help you kind of portray that enthusiasm and keenness you do have. So that's just literally in their job description, is they really want passionate people, and they have as part of this Reach Apprenticeship, it's open until the 30th of April. So there's still plenty of time to apply, but obviously the sooner the better, and we can help you with that. But they have apprenticeships in lots and lots of different trade roles. So I'm just going to list a couple because I've got them in front of me. So for example, in landscaping or cladding or bricklaying and painting and decorating, the list goes on, from engineering to tiling to quantity surveying, and they're really kind of open to different trades and what people are interested in. So what I'd suggest is have a look and type in Reach Apprenticeships online, have a little bit of a research, and we can really help you apply. So that's one I'm kind of spotlighting on today. I'd mentioned the kind of roles in Kent that Persimmons are looking at the moment. We had a webinar with Kia Group a few weeks ago, so if any of you are kind of interested, we do have that content and we'll be sharing it with you. And Redrow Homes, as I say, and we've had a couple of webinars previously, but we know they won't continue. They're a great employer with lots of different kind of apprentices and people that are keen to share their experiences. So for example, Akil is one apprentice who I think won Apprentice of the Year for Redrow last year, and he's really keen to kind of get involved and share content with you. So these roles are all open now. What I'd really suggest is wait until we do that follow-up with you. Let us know you might be interested in one of the 5. And we'll help you through that process. So have a little bit of a research, but hold off your application until we can give you a little bit of help in the next day or so. So those are just some roles which are open at the moment. And
thanks, Ellie. Can I just quickly jump in here, guys? Ellie, you're doing so well, and thank you so much. And I know a number of our attendees are keen to ask questions, but there are some rules around here as well, guys. So whilst I appreciate this is a great opportunity for use to the chat box, can we try and keep it applicable to the webinar? Can we try and keep it applicable to the HBF programme and to what Pathway CTM are doing, and not really talk about any of our personal jokes that we want to bring in here right now? Otherwise we will have to let you go. So come on, guys, use the Q&A section, and let's leave the social chat, I think, for outside of the webinar. Thanks, Ellie.
No problem at all. That kind of leads on to Q&A really. So
one of the burning questions, Ellie, if I may, is obviously we are in touch with colleges at the moment, and they're being really helpful, and I know they're really busy working to try and ensure all of their students still have access to content, access to tutors, etc., etc. But I think what we would like to hear from you guys is what are the colleges telling you, or maybe what are the colleges not telling you that you'd like us to sort of jump in and help you with? I did see one comment earlier, Ellie, that came in when you was in the middle of presenting. One of our students has said that they've heard via a rumour that the Pathway CTM HBF programme will be delayed by 1 year. I can assure you that's not the case. I think Ellie and I would know straight away if that was going to happen. So that makes these webinars more important, because there is rumour, there are, you know, untruths and theories being passed around, but we can assure you that the Pathway CTM HBF programme remains open. So if you hear anything differently, check in with us, because that's definitely not the case today. So we'd really like to hear about, you know, what is your college updating you with, or what are they not updating you with that actually you could really do with some insight on. And obviously, other questions that you want to raise. Ellie, sorry again for jumping in there, unless there's anything specific on the questions that we want our students to ask us today.
No, I just encourage you to ask any questions. So what I'd say is, yeah, so we've seen, that's a good question around like delay of the programme. So well done for asking, but absolutely not. There is no delay at all. We're here more than ever to help support you through this time. So no, don't worry about that at all.
I've just seen, actually, we have a bit of a special guest today, Ellie, who's amongst our attendees. We actually have the Home Builders Federation on the webinar today, who are obviously, you know, in charge of this entire project, sponsoring this entire project. We can't actually hear from them because they're not on audio, but they have just sent a message to say they're here, and they are listening in. So again, just reiterates that thing that the HBF programme is still very much on, and in fact we have the Home Builders Federation on the webinar today, which I think is pretty amazing for you guys. So take advantage. If you've got any particular questions, I'm fairly certain the HBF will actually help us answer some if needed.
Yeah, I've just had a text question come through, which is a really good one. So thanks for asking. In terms of what can I do now to help me get there? Well, that's a really good question, and I think that so thank you for asking it. Also, very good to be doing it through the different mediums. What you can be doing now is, like I've said, we'll be sending through a survey after today's session. Just first of all, thanking you for your time today, but also giving you some more information on the open roles. So what you can be doing now is firstly research. Secondly is just thinking about anything you might have done previously, in whether it's, you know, a Saturday job or anything you've done at college, and thinking about how that might make you have those skills, like what that might demonstrate in terms of skills that could be applicable to when you're applying to jobs. So for example, you know, if you play football on Saturday morning, that's a team sport, and therefore that's showing teamwork. So just if I were you, I'd be thinking about those things you do on a regular basis, and thinking about how they could be used as kind of examples of that passion which Berkeley Homes are looking for, or teamwork, which Telford Homes will ask you about in your interviews. And that's what I'd suggest in terms of what you can do now.
Ellie, we have a question that's come through. It was actually submitted a bit earlier, and I'm not sure if the name is completely correct here, but we're being asked if we work with Smith and Byford as one of our home building employers. Ellie, you're obviously our employer superstar. Are we working with them currently, or do we have plans to do so?
Completely honestly, then we're not working with them at the moment, so they're not one of our employers. But as I said at the beginning of the session, we're always expanding and looking for new employers to work with, so that's a good tip, so thank you for that. We haven't actually got any communication with them at the moment, so it's definitely one to put on my radar, so thank you. It's a two-way webinar then, it seems. You're helping me out too.
That's fantastic. Ellie, I've had a question that's been texted to me from one of our students. I think they're a little bit embarrassed to put it on the webinar. They were just asking about if well, actually, it's quite a serious question. Will the job still be open in view of the current virus? Is it worth me doing any of this now, or should I take a job? Oh, should I take a job at Tesco's? That's quite a loaded question, Ellie. So,
well, it's a very valid question. I would say is that, like, as I said, part of my job is talking to these the construction employers literally as much as possible, and I'm yet to hear anyone which is saying they won't be hiring next year. The only kind of update based on the moment is, like, I'm not going to lie, in terms of the work experience, it might be difficult in the coming months, just because of, you know, the literal physical closeness of being at a site for work experience. And there's obviously in the news at the moment, there's a lot of kind of uncertainty around the closing of sites at the moment. But all I'd say is absolutely not in terms of your future. So if you're looking to get a role in September, which I think most of you are, time-wise, then they're not closed for business in terms of there will be hiring next year. And I would say, although working at Tesco's is a very, very valid and helpful job at the moment, there's no harm in doing it as a Saturday job at the moment while you're thinking about your options. But don't rule off construction because of this uncertain time, because everyone in every industry, I think, probably bar the supermarkets, is having a bit of an uncertain time at the moment in terms of what the actual work experience and roles are at the moment. But by September, I've had a pretty confident response from lots of our employers saying they will be looking for a cohort to start then, because they don't want that kind of, they don't want a gap in their recruitment now. So even though things might be difficult for the next few months, if they stop recruiting now, in a year's time, we won't be no one to build the homes. So it's definitely still going ahead.
It's Tracy Hill at HBF, Ellie, is actually putting out some messages while we're chatting, which is great. She's putting that out across us, but she raises a very, very good point. This industry will not close down because ultimately we need such a large number of homes across the UK. I mean, there's a huge amount of building going on right now, as anyone who's walked down their town streets or their city streets will see. There's construction everywhere, because we have a massive need in this country. So I think we can take confidence that although we are going through a temporarily challenging time, there will be light at the tunnel. And those jobs, those roles are still very, very much valid, even if that means there is a delay by a few weeks. So it's, I think that's quite confidence building, Ellie, and it's a very, very valid point. We all need houses, so it can't stop.
Yeah, no, very valid, and thank you, Tracy. I've actually also seen a question from Sarah just above that. So thanks, Sarah, for asking that question. Can I get a job earlier now that I'm not in college? I think it is kind of an uncertain time in terms of recruitment over the next month or so. As these roles are available, literally don't rest assured that we'll let you know as soon as any role is open. For example, those 5 that I showed you on the screen earlier, they are open and you can still apply to them. So I'm checking in. I'm not going to give you any false hope there. So all I'd say is, in terms of can you get a job earlier, I'd say apply to these roles. Lots of them do start in, you know, September time, so it wouldn't necessarily be an earlier start time than if you'd been in college, for example, but maybe on the smallest, maybe I would say, you know, bear that in mind in terms of timing. So don't hang off your applications at the moment, definitely go for it, but I'd say being realistic, in the next coming couple of weeks or so, when you're at home due to COVID-19, won't be the time that you're starting physical work on site over the next couple of weeks. But beyond that, then there shouldn't be any kind of halt in hiring.
Ellie, we've just had a comment come in from one of our attendees. Hi, Sean. Thank you for joining us today. Just going to read this as I see it, Ellie. Persimmon has now started orderly shutdown of its construction sites. Now, I'm not sure if this is just breaking news, but we certainly haven't heard that. And Ellie, I think even it comes back down to your point that even if there is a temporary break in these sites, the recruitment path still remains available, right? It's just going to be a temporary fix. But have you heard anything prior to this webinar from Persimmon?
Yeah, so I've been speaking to Persimmon throughout the last couple of weeks, and I spoke to them this week actually, and I'm not disagreeing with the point that maybe there is an orderly shutdown for a very short amount of time. But all I'd say in regards to like what we're talking about today, which is kind of employment and employability, regardless of the fact that if there is a close for 3 weeks, as you know, life is not as we thought it was a few months ago, I don't think that will halt recruitment in the coming kind of months or so. So albeit there might be an orderly shutdown of particular sites due to this 3-week kind of lockdown or whatever we're calling it, then therefore doesn't mean that they won't continue to hire. So thanks, Sean. That might well be the case, but they're thinking that in further down the line, they're not thinking that they're going to shut down their sites indefinitely and not recruit anyone, is the latest I've heard from their kind of construction director.
That's fabulous, Ellie. And I think it's a good segue here just to remind our students that there is a large number of you on the call today, and it's fantastic to see you all taking that time out. If you're not really feeling comfortable about asking a question on here, but you do have some queries that you want to raise separately, again, you can reach us at student@pathwayctm.com. That inbox is monitored throughout the day. So if you send us an email, you will get a response. If you would like to schedule a call with us before our coaching calls come through to you, although I think they're going quite strong at the moment, again, use student@pathwayctm.com and let us know that you want to call. Give us an idea of what your query is, and one of our coaching team will be back to you as soon as possible. I know some people don't like actually asking questions on here, Ellie, but we'll probably get a barrage after the webinar. I'm just having a little look here. Our Tracy Hill at HBF has just made an announcement for us just on that previous point, Ellie. Many of our home builders are closing down sites at the moment based on that government advice. And in regards to obviously employee safety, but recruitment timelines are still in place. If and when they change, those employers will let us know. But right now, that's quite a positive, isn't it, Ellie, that even when things are as they are right now and things are closing, and these are very peculiar times for us all, there is still that confidence that, yeah, okay, we're downing for now, but we still very, very much need that, that funnel of young people coming through to be our workforce of the future.
Yeah, absolutely. And as I say, so we're talking to Berkeley Homes, it's obviously changing situations at the moment. So they were meant to have kind of assessment centres, in physical assessment centres, but actually those are changing now to kind of virtual Skype kind of situations like we're doing now. But again, there's no kind of reducing numbers of apprentices starting next year, and there's no kind of delay in the cohort starting. So as far as we know for now, and same with Telford Homes, who I spoke to today, that again, they're hiring the same amount of people and they will be doing the same kind of application process, but just maybe more virtually. So that's, yeah, agreed with you there, Tracy Hill. That's exactly how we're hoping that it's going to go in terms of that sense. So yeah.
Fabulous. That's great, Ellie. I think if it's okay with you, we'll look to start rounding this up. I think it's been a great introduction. Right now, our thinking is that we'll do these every Thursday at 3:30. But we're also aware through speaking to some of your college tutors that there is work scheduled for you in some instances throughout the day, and obviously we don't want to interrupt that for you. What I suggest is right now, we are going to go ahead and put one on for next Thursday, Ellie. I think this is quite a good slot. However, if you really, really can't make it, and if there's a large number of you that would prefer a different time, drop us an email at student@pathwayctm.com. We're quite agile. We can move these around to a degree. And obviously for those that really can't attend in real time, a day or two after, Ellie, we will be supplying them with a link to the recording so that they can still catch up at a time that suits them best. So I think the last thing I would like to say is, again, it's been awesome to see so many people on here today. And I know our inbox is already starting to receive some emails. Keep emailing us. That's great. It's love to have that engagement. And also, please do keep an eye out for your email inbox. By the end of day tomorrow, you will have your newsletter, and that will give you all of the different events that Pathway are putting on next week and some upcoming things that we've got in our pipeline. I would also, Ellie, if I may, just take a very quick moment here it's great when you start to see students, Ellie, that are joining us consistently for our series of webinars, and they're turning up at every event. So I think if it's okay, just because he's so persistent and so engaged, I'm going to put a special shout out to Connor. I recall meeting Connor a few months ago at his college, and I remember him because he deliberately made a beeline for myself and Chris, actually, to shake our hand and thank us for attending. So Connor, it's so great to see you still engaged with this, and thank you for some of the comments that you've raised throughout the webinar, and we look forward to catching up with you on one of our coaching calls coming up soon. So thanks, guys. Thank you for that. Ellie, I'll let you take the end part here.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Again, so I'd say the same. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, guys, for joining. And I'd reiterate the point that, like, stay tuned for some of our more kind of interactive sessions. We'll let you know what's coming, really. So don't feel like it'll be a repetition of this every week. Like, it will be different sessions and things you can get involved in. Finally, you know what you need to do if you want to contact us via student@pathwayctm.com. Just send your name and any query. And I would say follow us on Instagram. In this time, then being kind of connected is more important than ever. So we do have an Instagram account, pathwayctm.com, and we albeit speak to all of our students on there, but we'll be posting things specifically around the construction space and what we have on offer. So yeah, follow us if you have that tool, and if you don't, then absolutely don't worry, then we'll be able to get in contact with you anyway via our coaching calls. So thanks again, everyone, and it's been brilliant. So facing myself, thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Ellie. Thanks, everyone, for attending today, and enjoy the rest of your day. Thanks, Ellie.